From West Point, New York, inside the Foley Athletic Center, it's opening day of the 2026 college lacrosse season. Hello, friends. I'm Alex Schoen, and thank you for joining us for today's matchup between the Army Black Knights and the UMass Minutemen. It's the 34th all-time meeting between these two programs, and they have played or scrimmaged each other every season dating back to the days of the legendary Jack Emmer for Army and Richard Garber for UMass, two Hall of Fame outstanding coaches. These two programs have had an early season showdown in the regular season every year since 2011. Army is coming off a phenomenal 2025 campaign where they were one of the nation's best, 12-2, until falling to Colgate in the Patriot League semifinals. They are led by All-Americans Sean Byrne in the goal, John Sullivan on close defense, and Evan Plunkett at the midfield. UMass is coming off an impressive 9-6 campaign where they fell to Richmond in the Atlantic 10 semifinals. UMass has had many high-quality wins in 2025 at Rutgers, Albany, and St. Joseph's. Greg Cannella concluded a Hall of Fame career a year ago, and Coach Kyle Smith has been elevated to head coach and takes over his alma mater. He looks to build on the foundation of a great program, and we are back. 2026 college lacrosse season. We are back. It'll be TJ Casey at the face-off dot for UMass against Rob Simone for Army, number 18 in the white jersey. Simone takes over for All-American Will Coletti, not just one of the great face-off men for Army, as we start with a violation there, but Coletti, one of the best face-off specialists in college lacrosse history, extremely dual threat, and we're underway here, and Army will pressure. This is an Army team. They like to get out and really press out on the perimeter, so UMass will have to spread them out as we see here. And we're going to start with Cargiulo. Cargiulo moves it one more. It looks like UMass getting into their set. And this is an Army team, very aggressive. We'll see how UMass handles the pressure. This is Drunzik. Aiden Drunzik, the captain, the senior from New Hampshire. And this is Army. They'll go with the invert. Or excuse me, UMass with the invert. Here's Drunzik. Set the ball in his stick a lot on this possession. Tries to turn the corner. He shoots, and a save by Byrne. Sean Byrne with his first save of 2026, and Army comes up with the ground ball at Sullivan. Those first-time ground balls are going to be so important for both teams. You want to end the possession right away when you can, and Sullivan, the All-American senior, gets things started for Army. Here comes Army in transition, and what a save by Salinger. This is going to be an outstanding matchup today between both goaltenders, Sean Byrne, the senior from Georgia, and Owen Salinger, the sophomore from Liverpool, New York, as we see UMass tries to go early offense and they turn it over. But this is one of the best goaltending matchups you're going to see this weekend in college lacrosse. This might be one of the best matchups you'll see all season long, as Army will get settled in with the settled set. This is a new offensive look. The Army Black Knights graduated a lot of firepower. Jackson Eicher, most notably, Tewaaraton Award finalist a year ago, but this Army program has continued to reload and not rebuild. And with guys like this, Evan Plunkett, number 4 in the white jersey. Plunkett fires off the pipe, and that'll be a shot clock reset to 60. A couple years ago, new rule that the shot clock will reset to 60 instead of 80. And here comes Army. It's Hill Plunkett. He's been moved from midfield to attack. And he turns the corner and he scores. Hill Plunkett gets the party started for Army. And he has the first goal of 2026 for the Black Knights. Great job by the sophomore from Georgia, younger brother of Evan Plunkett. He was a midfielder a year ago, but his natural position is attack. And with the graduation of Eicher, he's a perfect fit for this Army system. And you mentioned Jackson Eicher. This offense was going to look different regardless, because this Army staff does a tremendous job of fitting their personnel to their scheme. So a great start so far for the Black Knights. And we have a different face-off man for Army. New rule a year ago, it's going to be Caleb Caldwell from Texas because Rob Simone had a violation. So you can't take the next face-off. New rule established a year ago. So it's important to have multiple face-off men and players who can take the draw on your team. You can't just have one guy take every single face-off. And here's Gunnar Fellows, senior captain. And here's Weisenborn. Aiden Weisenborn, outstanding freshman campaign, and he tries to get to the middle, fires just off the mark. Weisenborn, 12 in the white jersey. The sophomore from Chicago. And here's Plunkett, and Fellows has his defenseman hung up. These situations are very interesting when you have a defenseman hung up. With the shot clock, he can't stay back there the whole time. Here's Fellows, moves it one more. Army with great ball movement, they're testing. And great job by UMass. It's Cooper, Gavin Cooper with the turnover. The freshman from the Haverford School, and UMass looking to clear it. And UMass hasn't had a true possession really in this game where they've really dictated. Let's see what they do here. Coach Kyle Smith has kept the offense the same. Offensive coordinator promoted to head coach. A very free-flowing, player-friendly system where they're unpredictable and can really keep the defense on their heels. UMass will look to initiate from the corner. Here's Duva. And here's Drunzik, captain, moves it one more. One more on the crease, and what a save by Sean Byrne. Sean Byrne standing tall early for the Black Knights, and they'll look to clear. We mentioned Sean Byrne made his first career start 2024 at North Carolina. Made 19 saves in a Army victory, and he has been hot ever since. And we're going to have a penalty turnover. Looks like Army was offsides. And when you turn it over in the clearing game and you stack possessions, it's an opportunity for the offense. So we'll see if UMass can capitalize. Here's Turowski. He moved from midfield to attack this season. They'll move it one more to Finnerty. Here's Cargiulo. This Army defense, a top 10 defense every year, the past decade plus. Coach Kyle Georgalis' unit, one of the best year in and year out. And UMass will take the shot off the mark. And this Army team, known for pressing out, UMass has done a nice job handling that pressure so far. And this is called an invert. Short stick defensive midfielder, attack him behind the cage. Midfielders usually play above the cage, so invert opposite as we get in a two-man game here on the wing. Jack Turowski on the corner, turns and he scores. Jack Turowski, the sophomore from the Berkshire School from Massachusetts, back to his natural spot in the attack, was a midfielder a year ago. But now he's back at the attack, and he gets UMass on the board in 2026. So great job to dominate the island. 5 and 5. 5 yards up on the cage, 5 yards to the side of the cage. And UMass has tied things up here. Back to the face-off X. It's Simone. Pushes it forward. Is he going to push the break? He shoots, and it's off the mark. Rob Simone, the junior from the Lawrenceville School Power Program in New Jersey, coached by John Posner, Colby Cohen at the time with Rob Simone, and Tucker Measure, defensive coordinator. That's a program. They produce top talent year in and year out. And Simone, another Lawrenceville product, looks for primed for a fantastic season. Plunkett moves it one more. Here's Fountain, one of the top freshmen in the country a year ago, now a sophomore. Here's Fellows, moves it one more. Great defense by UMass to close out, but Army able to escape, and Plunkett will settle things down. Evan Plunkett tries to get top side, moves it one more, and he can't connect with Fellows. And you see right there, they can't connect, but Evan Plunkett, he draws so much attention that his passing ability can really carve up defenses. And a missed opportunity there, but opportunities he's capable of generating. And now UMass will settle things down. They'll look to initiate from the corner. Here's Drunzik with Sullivan. UMass will keep their long stick on the field in a two-man game and can't connect there. Those opportunities are risky. And Army will take the possession. Army looking to push it in transition, but they'll settle things down. This is an Army team. They're capable traditionally of going a lot of different speeds. They can play you in the 6-on-6 set, but they can also really get after you in transition. And that's one of the stylistic changes you've really seen the last 3 or 4 years. They really get up and down. Here's Weisenborn. Ball put on the turf. It'll be UMass can't pick it up. And Army will retain possession. It's Fountain. And here's Gunnar Fellows, senior from Colorado. Turns the corner, shoots, and a save by Salinger. Owen Salinger, a freshman All-Atlantic 10 selection a year ago, a Nike All-American. He stands tall. And Army will cause the turnover, one of the top riding teams in all of college lacrosse. Now, the field looks like it's a little tight today being in the indoor facility, so the riding and clearing game and the spacing will be an issue and a development for both teams. And both teams might be able to use the sideline as an extra defender. And UMass will look to clear it. Army is dominating the tempo of this game, but only 1-1 so far. So Army's in control, but UMass certainly can flip the momentum with a good possession here. There'll be a timeout by UMass as Coach Kyle Smith senses the urgency of this possession. Timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to West Point, New York, for today's matchup between the Army Black Knights and the UMass Minutemen. It's 1-1 with 3:57 left in the first quarter. UMass will look to capitalize on this possession. Here comes UMass. Skip pass through. Time, room, and Sean Byrne is standing on his head early. And a phenomenal save by the senior goaltender from the great state of Georgia. And Army has tempo in transition. Great job by UMass to cut off the opportunity in the middle of the field with transition defense. And Plunkett will go to the goal. And he'll draw the push. It'll stay here with the Black Knights, and that's something Army can do. Push the ball from defense to offense, but then in the early offense, attack while you're subbing and getting your personnel on the field. And now we move into the 6-on-6 phase of their offensive attack. And they'll swing it to Plunkett, far side. Attacks the middle of the field. Time, room, and a save by Salinger. If you're an Army fan, that's the man you want in the middle of the field with his hands free, Evan Plunkett. And UMass makes the save, but Army forces a scramble situation. Here come the Minutemen. Big ground ball. They will settle it. And here's Drunzik, the captain. Looks like UMass try to attack in the subbing game a little bit. Army is on it. Here's Prince being guarded by Tracy. Moves it one more to Richardson. Duva. Here's Duva. Tries to get top side. He's working on Rose. Shoots, and another save by Byrne. Sean Byrne is lighting it up right now, early in the season. But UMass pushing in transition. They've got an opportunity. Time, room, and Byrne again. Sean Byrne showing why he was an All-American in 2025. Arguably the top goaltender in the country. and he is standing on his head early in 2026. Here comes Army. They have numbers, 5-on-4. Great save by Salinger. Weisenborn can't put it in, but Army will get the ground ball with Plunkett. Army's getting opportunities and just haven't been able to cash in. And part of that is because we have a goalie duel going on between Salinger and Byrne. And Army time room, and they score. Mike Harney, the junior from Mahopac, New York. He puts Army up by 1. And you got to think it was only a matter of time before the ball hit the back of the net. Great job by this Army squad. And this is an Army team, yes, they get an influx of talent. They do a great job in the recruiting pipeline, but you have guys like Harney who have been in the program, a junior, and they develop combination of recruiting great players, developing great players, and retaining great players. That's been one of the secrets for this Army program, and they'll retain possession here as well with an extra man opportunity. Here's Plunkett. Moves it one more. He'll step in. Excuse me, that's Calabrese. Sophomore from Wilton, Connecticut, by way of the Trinity Pauling School. And the Black Knights will look to attack on the power play. Here's Plunkett, looks to step in. Splits right to left. Get it to Fellows, and it's off the mark. He can't score. And these goaltenders make it really difficult to score. They take up so much of the net, and they've got great reflexes. Here's Calabrese. Off the mark. Army will retain possession with Fountain. And this is a UMass team. They're pressing out in their extra man defense, not wanting to give these talented Army players their hands free. And it looks like there'll be a timeout by Army, it looks like. So timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. We'll be back after this. Oh, excuse me. That was the end of the quarter. So Army will retain possession. No face-off. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to West Point, New York. It's the start of the second quarter. 2-1 in favor of Army. And the Black Knights will start with no face-off on an extra man opportunity. And they'll see if they can capitalize. Here's Army. Calabrese surveys the field. Weisenborn. Here's Fountain. Gets it to Plunkett. He'll step in. Calabrese moves it one more to Fellows. Great defense by UMass, and now they're matched up. We're playing 6-on-6 with Hill Plunkett. Moves it one more. Calabrese. He's got time, and he's off the mark. And we'll see Fellows. He'll just throw the ball in the corner to try to set up the Army ride. Army, one of the top riding teams in all of college lacrosse. And with the indoor conditions, it will be difficult for both teams to clear the ball. So if you can set up, it'll be very opportunistic, which is great job by UMass to clear it with Jimmy Elliott. And they'll set up shop. Cargiulo moves it one more. And here comes UMass on the doorstep, and Byrne again. Sean Byrne denies UMass yet again. That has been the theme of the game so far today. And Army will come up with the ground ball. It's Xander Johnson. It's Tommy Steins with a huge ground ball. He gets it to Keegan Tracy. And Fellows will settle things down. Chris Gabrielli, UMass alum, he takes over the UMass defense, doing a great job. And Fountain will attack in early offense and get Army up 3-1. And they attack right there in early offense. Brayton Fountain, a freshman sensation a year ago, now a super sophomore, gets topside in early offense. Army up 3-1. Great job by them. But this has really been a nice job by both defenses. Prior to the goal, we were talking about Coach Chris Gabrielli, UMass alum, takes over the UMass defense, known for his defensive schemes. And this UMass defense will be much more aggressive. They've certainly been really talented and really productive in the past, but we'll see a different style from them defensively this season. And UMass will win the face-off. Here's Drunzik. Goal line extended. Turns the corner. He scores. Aiden Drunzik, the captain for UMass, cuts the lead to 1. And he goes to work behind the cage, turns the corner at goal line extended. And UMass doing a really nice job so far. The pace of this game has been fast, but the goaltenders have certainly done a nice job, and every offensive opportunity has been earned where they put the ball in the back of the net. And right there, Drunzik, the senior captain. Here's Caleb moving it forward. Army retains possession, but UMass causing a turnover. It'll be a scrum in the middle for the ground ball. And it'll be Fountain, the attackman, getting a big ground ball for Army, and they'll settle into their 6-on-6 offense. And we mentioned Army, how they like to press out. UMass will now press out this season. That'll be a change. Here's Tyler Clark. Clark looking to invert. Moves it one more. Plunkett can't connect. And UMass will go in transition. And we mentioned the clearing game and on those sidelines and how it might be difficult today. Not sure what the dimensions are. Here's Plunkett. Down the alley, moves it one more. Here's Cal Lambert. Here's Plunkett. Turns the corner, he scores. Hill Plunkett. Hill Plunkett showing off why he was one of the top freshmen in the country a year ago. The super sophomore is off to a great start in year two. And we talked about Plunkett in his natural attack spot, was in the midfield a year ago with his brother Evan, doing a nice job taking over for Jackson Eicher, to Wharton Award finalist a year ago. And Army's up for it too. And UMass getting a much-needed face-off. We'll see if they're content to go a little deeper into possessions. Here's Cargiulo. Here's Drunzik. He'll move it to Granara. Feeds the crease. Behind the back, he scores! Jack Turowski, the sophomore, behind the back. Flair for the dramatic. Cuts the lead to 1. Granara fed the crease, had the confidence that his teammate was going to put that in the back of the net. He's got Army defenders all over his hands. The only way he gets that shot on the goal is if he goes behind the back. And Jack Turowski, the sophomore from the Berkshire School, shows why Coach Smith moved him from midfield to attack this season. As a flag down, it looks like Army. It'll be on Army, and UMass will go on the power play, but there's a second flag down. So we'll see what the call is. Officials will convene. Take a look. Looks like big hit by Army. Looks like they're going to lock this penalty in. it looks like. And UMass will go on the power play, and a big opportunity for the Minutemen. Oh, excuse me. No, Army will go on the power play. As both players are in the penalty box, so the possession is awarded to Army because UMass committed the penalty second. So the change of possession goes to Army. So Tyler Clark feeds it to Fellows. Question mark off the mark. And that's a huge series of events. So we'll be 5-on-5. 9 minutes left in the second quarter. 4-3 in favor of Army. Here's Plunkett. He's got a short stick. Look for UMass to support early. Here's Plunkett. Low wing. Moves it one more. Off the mark is Tyler Clark. Fellows will back up. Gunnar Fellows, primed for a big season for Army. He started almost every game since he's been on campus here. And he'll play two-man game with Plunkett. Plunkett's got a short stick. Here's Brother Hill. Weisenborn feeds it one more, and Salinger stands tall. Owen Salinger, 6'1", sophomore from Liverpool, New York, has really done a nice job in goal for UMass. And this, we said it before, but this might be one of the best goalie duels you'll see, not just this weekend, but all season, between Byrne and Salinger. Here's Drunzik. He's being guarded by Sullivan. Here's Calvo. And Byrne comes out of the cage, and Sean Byrne is locked in today. And Tracy will clear. Army will look to run in transition. And they'll settle things down here. 7:20 left in this second quarter. 4-3 in favor of the Black Knights. Here's Plunkett. Plunkett looking to turn the corner. Moves it one more. Off the mark is Tyler Matthews, the freshman from Binghamton, New York. This is an Army team. They're going to play a decent amount of freshmen in the first two midfield lines. Here's Mike Harney. Gets to the middle of the field. He shoots off the pipe. Mike Harney to the middle of the field and can't get there, but Army will retain possession. Brayton Fountain. And that shot clock will reset to 60. You reset the shot. So if you go to the goal at 75 and you hit the pipe, it's still going to 60. So it's a reset if you hit the goaltender or the pipe and retain possession. Here's Weisenborn. Sets the pick for Fellows. Swings it to the far side. Here's Fountain. Tries to get down the alley, and save again by Salinger. Here comes UMass, and they'll look to settle it. And you see the pace Army wants to play up and down. UMass is capable, known for their two-way midfielders, but expect them to be more of a 6-on-6 team this season. Here's Cargiulo. He'll be in the invert. Moves it one more. Beats his defender. Can't connect on the crease, and Army will pick it up. And it's those first-time ground balls by this Black Knight defense. When that ball is on the turf in front of the goal, they're picking it up first time, and they're ending the possession right away. And those are so big, because if you don't pick up that ground ball and you have to play defense again, statistics will show it's not in favor of the defense. Here's Plunkett. Rolls back to a strong right hand. Can't connect with Fountain. It'll be a turnover. And UMass will clear it. And you hear great things about this UMass program. 9-6 a year ago. Coach Kyle Smith takes over for Hall of Famer Greg Cannella. Did a great job with this program. Congratulations to Coach Cannella on a Hall of Fame phenomenal career. And Kyle Smith, an alum, class of 2014, takes over and looks to build on the historic tradition at UMass. And both programs, Army and UMass, have great traditions, great alumni bases, and proud programs in college lacrosse. Here's Duva. UMass content to attack, but also be patient. Here's Tarowski. Gets the short stick matchup. Estodge, and he scores. Jack Tarowski is on fire. That's his second. And he Estodges to the goal and gets to the heart of this Army defense. And we're tied up here in West Point, New York. We'll be back. Timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. See you on the other side. Back. Welcome back to West Point, New York. Alex Schoen here. It is 4-4 between the UMass Minutemen and the Army Black Knights. And both teams doing a great job early in the season. And if you talk to most teams around college lacrosse, every team is a work in progress. As we have a face-off violation, it'll be Army possession. But every team is a work in progress, especially at this time of the year with the weather, not a lot of time to do riding and clearing. And Simone, very offensive, capable face-off man, takes the shot, and Plunkett will back up. But most teams will tell you this time of the year, work in progress with weather. Sometimes you don't get a feel for the riding and clearing and specialty situations. And so whatever you see from both these teams won't even be close to the level of great play you'll see as the weeks and the games progress. Here's Plunkett. Rolls back. Moves it one more. Fountain. Time Roomy scores. Brayton Fountain, the super sophomore from Plunkett, the Georgia connection, puts Army up by 1. And you see the Army Black Knight bench super ecstatic. I mean, you look at this team, Plunkett, the sophomore, Fountain, the sophomore, Georgia connections. I mean, this team, yes, you lose guys like A.J. Pilot, Will Coletti, Jackson Eicher, Finn McCullough, so many, but we have seen them reload. This coaching staff puts them in great situations. They find the right places to put the pieces as Simone wins a face-off. And Plunkett and Fountain are a big reason to why this team will probably remain a contender nationally. And here's Fellows. Feeds it, cross crease, unable to connect. Great job by UMass to knock it down, and they'll look to clear it. But you talk about the Georgia connections. You got Sean Byrne, you got Brayton Fountain, Evan Plunkett, Hill Plunkett, assistant coach Rick Lewis from the great state of Georgia. And that is an emerging hotbed in the great sport of lacrosse. The Georgia area, so many great players from that area. And this Army program getting a bunch of them. Here's Jackman. Moves it one more to Duva. And Byrne stands tall, but it's off the mark. That was Turowski. And Turowski will back it up here. And when you look at UMass, they have a nice young team as well. And they're battling here against one of the best in the country. And it's because of guys like that. Turowski, inside roll. Army doesn't have an answer for Jack Turowski. And he's feeling it. Turowski, we talked about him in the open beginning of this broadcast. Played midfield a year ago. Natural position is more of attack, but talking to Coach Smith, he played midfield and attack in high school, so very comfortable playing both positions, and that's the direction the game is going as we'll take a timeout here, but we'll keep it here. And you look at Turowski, he was a midfielder a year ago. Something you see across the country is these teams want to get their best offensive players on the field. So you'll see attackmen who are high school attackmen. They'll come out of the box and play midfield because they want to get their best offensive players on the field. That's what UMass did with Turowski a year ago. You see it with every team. That's what Army did with Hill Plunkett a year ago. Plays midfield. Now he's an attackman. And the versatility of these players really goes a long way and makes the offenses a lot more dangerous as we take a close-up on the UMass huddle. Coach Kyle Smith takes over for Coach Greg Cannella in 2026. As we mentioned, Coach Cannella, Hall of Fame career, led UMass to the Final Four in 2006. Chris Gabrielli replaced Noah Fosner, who is now the defensive coordinator for Yale. Noah Fosner, an outstanding defensive mind as well. We will see a principles-based offense. Coach Kyle Smith has played this game at every single level. I was talking to him yesterday, and he talked about principles-based pass, pick, cut, having, yes, your set actions in a possession, but also teaching the players to read and react and have some fun out there. He's played at every single level in the box game, at the pro lacrosse level, was an outstanding player at UMass. So he's really built a phenomenal system for these offensive players with the Minutemen. Now here's Simone, and he's rejected by Salinger. And Army will pick up the ground ball. And they'll look to settle into their 6-on-6 set. Here's Tyler Clark, sophomore from Staples in Connecticut, one of the top public schools nationally. Moves it one more inside, and he scores. It's Cal Lambert from Brayton Fountain. Tic-tac-toe. Tyler Clark to Fountain to Lambert. And great for Cal Lambert, number 24, the senior midfielder from Victor, New York, was lost due to injury in 2024. Really wasn't himself in 2025. Now he's running on this main midfield line as a senior, a leader for this Army team, and he is on the receiving end of the goal. Army's up 6-5 with 1 minute left here. And Army going to win the face-off with Simone. So Tracy will go to the goal. Shoots it, he scores. Keegan Tracy, the senior defensive midfielder from the St. Paul School in Maryland, gets Army on a run, and they're up 7-5 with a minute left in this second quarter. You think Simone wins the face-off? Army doesn't have to take a shot until the end of the half, but this is in their DNA. They want to go, and if there's a scoring opportunity, they're going to take it, and Keegan Tracy delivers. Army will win the face-off. They'll look to clear with Byrne. And this is a big possession for UMass because 40 seconds left in this half. 7-5 is a lot different than 8-5 in terms of momentum going into the half. And Army, they can control the ball the rest of this half. And they'll do that with a timeout. So timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. See you on the other side. Welcome back to West Point, New York, inside the Foley Athletic Center. 35 seconds to go, 7-5 in favor of Army. We'll see what they drew up to try to get the last shot here and another goal to add on to this lead. Here's Plunkett. Gets inside, shoots, he scores. He'll Plunkett. He'll Plunkett. Adds to this Army lead, and he's been sensational in his attack debut for the Black Knights. Put the ball in the hands of one of your best players, and good things will happen. Great job by this Army team. 8-5 with 18 seconds to go. And that is huge for momentum. We'll see if UMass can get a quick one. They win the face-off. Here's Casey. He'll look to go in transition. Casey. Tripped. And Army. We'll see if there's a penalty, and this is huge because as we saw at the end of the first quarter, when Army didn't have to face off and they retained possession with a power play going into the second quarter, now UMass will have that same advantage, and they'll have a chance to dial up an extra man opportunity, assuming they hold it. So it looks like it'll be a timeout. 8 seconds to go, but you'd think UMass will just be content to go into halftime 8-5, and then they'll get the ball, and they'll be able to kind of have a great opportunity inside at halftime to draw up what they want to do on their extra man unit and be in control starting in this second quarter. Or excuse me, third quarter, second half. And we'll keep it here as we get ready for halftime. There's a look at Coach Albarisi's team. Off to a great start, 8-5. They replaced 22 seniors, and that group of seniors has had one of the greatest runs in the history of a senior class here at Army. And what's more impressive is 22 seniors came in and 22 seniors left. That is almost unheard of at any school. But to do it at the United States Military Academy is a huge credit to Coach Albarisi and his program. As UMass will be content to run out the rest of this clock, they'll go up with an extra man opportunity to start the third quarter, and we will head to halftime. It's 8-5 in favor of the Army Black Knights over the UMass Minutemen. Great first half by both teams. We'll be back after this. See you on the other side. Welcome back to West Point, New York, inside the gorgeous Foley Athletic Complex. Big shout out to our technical crew for setting this up today, bringing you opening day college lacrosse despite the weather conditions. Many games across 2026 season opening weekend postponed or canceled due to really tough weather conditions. So really fortunate that Army and UMass were able to compete today. And we've got a great one, 8-5 in that first quarter. We saw Hill Plunkett for Army have a terrific first half with Braden Fountain. And then Jack Tarowski for UMass had a terrific first half as well. And the clearing statistic, despite it being early in the season, both teams only failing 3 clears. Usually, as we mentioned in the broadcast, that is a point of emphasis in the beginning because with weather conditions, you don't have a ton of reps in full field at times. And UMass will start on the power play. Tarowski moves it one more, feeds it, and UMass delivers out of halftime. And it's Thomas Bagnall, the freshman from Ontario and IMG Academy, on the doorstep. Great skip pass to get him the ball on the pipe, point blank, and he dunks it. Those are the opportunities you need to create if you're UMass. Higher percentage doorstep opportunities because Sean Byrne can see it and he can save it. So a great start for UMass coming out of the half. And it'll be a face-off violation on Simone. He won't be able to take the next face-off. And UMass will settle it in here. And that's big in lacrosse. You have the face-off, so they score a goal, then they win the face-off. That's stacking possessions. That's how you turn the face-off into an advantage. If you win the face-off, you don't score, and then it just goes the other way. You don't create a true possession advantage. UMass right here has a chance to stack possessions. And they get topside, and high-to-high, saved by Sean Byrne. Cargiulo, the junior from Manhasset, couldn't quite get it past Byrne. And as we mentioned, those shots from the outside, Sean Byrne sees it. Now, middle of the field opportunity for UMass. Those are the opportunities you want with all the angle. But Byrne, him and Salinger for UMass have shown they're special goaltenders. Here's Plunkett. Moves it one more for Fellows. Down the alley. UMass is aggressive, and they take the ball away right there. And they'll run in transition. It's Zach Aubel, the senior, one of the elite defensemen for UMass. And they'll be opportunistic, but it doesn't look like they'll push it. Here's Drunzik. Sees the whole field from behind X. Moves it to Tarowski. Here's Waxman. So UMass offense, they understand the pace of this game. They'll be patient. Here's Drunzik, the captain. Coming off the pick, gets the switch of the short stick matchup. That's Lambert, offensive midfielder on defense. We'll see what the call is. Looks like there's a flag down. And UMass will go extra man. And they've delivered on the extra man opportunity coming out of this quarter. And that should be no surprise if you're a UMass fan, because this unit was 4th nationally in extra man offense in 2025. Now, Army, a top 10 defense nationally every year for over a decade. But anytime you get 6-on-5, it's difficult, regardless of how talented you are defensively. Here's Drunzik. UMass will be patient, looking for the best opportunity, not necessarily the first opportunity. They feed it and Byrne with the offside save. Great save by Byrne, the quick outlet. Here come the Black Knights. And Army can push it in transition and in early offense. They've done that today, but Plunkett looks like he's settling down the offense to get a high-quality possession here. And he'll move it to his brother Evan. And here comes Army off the mark. That was Tyler Clark, the sophomore from Connecticut. He's had a nice game. And here's Fellows, 5-5. Here's Clark. Moves it one more. It's Fountain. Low to high, can't connect. Now here's Plunkett. He's been dominant from behind the cage. He has his defender hung up. Here's Plunkett. 5-5. Turns the corner, he scores. Hill Plunkett on cue yet again. He is dominating right now. That's his 4th of the day. Hill Plunkett. The super sophomore has his 4th of today, and they've all been from that goal line extended 5-5 area. He has been elite at turning the corner so far today, and you see the change of direction of Plunkett, and that's why they put him down at the attack this season. And this Army team, an embarrassment of riches, and looks like if they can continue to progress, they're not going to rebuild. They're going to reload. You've got great foundational pieces. You got Evan Plunkett, who's the best midfielder in the country, and there's been so much attention, or arguably the best midfielder in the country. And there's been so much attention on him, and you forget about Hill Plunkett, Braden Fountain, and all these other players as Army will get the penalty and draw the extra man opportunity. That's Plunkett. Hopefully he's okay. He walks off under his own power. So good sign for the Black Knights. But you talk about, as they'll go on the power play, but you talk about this team. And in 2022, they lost Brendan Nickturn, an all-time great for this Army program. And people weren't sure how they were going to be, but they reloaded, and you saw guys like Reese Burek step up, and you saw the emergence of a young Evan Plunkett and Paul Johnson and a bunch of other players, Ryan Sposito, and the list goes on. A.J. Pilot, a young A.J. Pilot as a sophomore. So this Army team will continue to reload, and they've done it before. Here's Fellows surveying the field. Here's Plunkett. He's in that top middle spot of the extra man. And he spin moves. Plunkett with the dish, and almost an incredible goal by, it looks like, Fellows, and he'll draw the penalty. And Army will get even more opportunities on the EMO. So it'll be 6-on-4 in favor of Army. Look for UMass just to play in a 4-man rotation, box style of defense. Looks like they're going to start in a diamond type of shape. Just pack it in and hope they're All-American goalie candidate and All-American can make a nice save. And Army will turn it over. Errant pass, uncharacteristic by Plunkett. And UMass, they dodge a tough situation there. Can they clear it? This will be tough. 2-man down in the clearing game. Army will have 2 extra players to try to ride the ball back. We'll see the man down clear for UMass. And that's huge for the Minutemen because now they can try to get rid of all the penalty minutes. And we'll see if what UMass does. Look for them to spread them out to avoid double teams. But it's Sullivan. Oh, and that's huge. Sullivan had it, and Drunzik knocked it out. So if you're UMass, 9-6, plenty of game left. About 8 minutes, 35 seconds left. You're going to get your opportunities. So make sure you drain all this penalty clock to not give Army higher level opportunities. Here's Duva. Low wing dodge. Tries to get underneath Drunzik. Being marked by Sullivan, one of 2 freshmen who have ever started as a freshman. He's now a senior. So that'll tell you how prolific a career Johnny Sullivan has had for Army. Him and A.J. Pilot, the only freshmen who have started under Coach Alberici in 21 seasons. Here's Duva being guarded by Rose. Shot cannot connect. Drunzik will back it up. Here's Drunzik. 2-man game from goal line extended. Drunzik being guarded by Sullivan. Feeds the crease. Can't connect with Granara. And this Army defense clamps down on Granara, and they'll look to clear it. Here's Tracy. He'll set this offense up in transition. Tracy has a goal today. Bounce pass to Plunkett. And Army will get their substitutions on the field. The quarterback, Evan Plunkett, settles things down. And it looks like UMass might have gone to a zone defense. And it works right there. As you see Plunkett calling out the signs, and Army gets into their zone offense right away. But UMass is able to capitalize, and they'll look to clear. So we'll see what UMass can do as Army will get possession. With the shot clock and the emergence of unpredictable offensive play, you've seen zone defense kind of be a little more prevalent amongst Division I lacrosse teams. It looks like UMass is in one right here. 3-3 zone. 3 players across, 3 players in 2 triangles. Here's Fellows. Moves it one more to Plunkett. Whenever you're going against a zone, you got to have presence inside just like that with Hill Plunkett. He delivers on the doorstep. They get the defense moving. Stretch the zone defense for UMass. And then get to the heart of the defense. Great job by Army. Timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to West Point, New York. I'm Alex Schoen. This is Army Lacrosse in the beautiful Foley Athletic Facility. 10-6 with 5 minutes 38 seconds to go in this third quarter. Army has the momentum, but UMass has really performed well today as Simone wins the faceoff, and this game is far from over. And lacrosse is a game of runs. Army's gone on their run, and we'll see if they can continue to do so, but there will be opportunities for the Minutemen. And we've seen zone defense from UMass the last two possessions. Looks like that's not the theme so far, but we'll see how they continue to mix it up. Looks like Lambert on the inside, rejected by the defenders of UMass, but we have a scramble situation here from the side. Here's Fellows. Will he look to push it? No, we have a stoppage in play. We'll see what the call is. Looks like we'll have a hold, and it will be Army possession. UMass pressing out, man-to-man defense for the Minutemen. Here's Clark. Lambert moves it one more. Here's Plunkett from the low wing. Tries to get topside. Hands-free, shoots over the goal. Evan Plunkett, such a two-handed midfielder. He's dangerous from everywhere. Arguably the best midfielder in the country. And here's his brother, Hill, backhanded. But you've got the presence of Evan Plunkett at the midfield, the presence of Hill Plunkett at the attack. It's pick your poison with this Army team. Looks like UMass going back to their zone defense. Army will get in their zone offense. Fountain off the mark and locate the short sticks if you're Army. Where are the short sticks in the zone defense? Shot off the mark, and you see Army going to two inside. So the idea is to have two players inside kind of overwhelm that one player. Now there's one player. And force the defense to pack it in and get opportunities on the outside and stretch the defense as Salinger makes the save. And Army will have a tremendous ride there, but it'll stay UMass possession. And we mentioned the sidelines. Not sure what the dimensions are on the sidelines, but both teams have to deal with it. So that is a factor here, but both teams have cleared the ball considerably well, not only for that, but also it's early in the season, as we mentioned. That is a statistic across the nation that gets better as games continue to progress. Here's Cargiulo, moves it one more. Swim move, saved by Byrne. And it'll be backed up by UMass and Turowski, but Sean Byrne has been as advertised, and I don't want to take anything away from Salinger as well because he has been tremendous as well. So both goaltenders have stood on their head so far today. And Sean Byrne's got a younger defense in front of him as they'll go on the man down unit. UMass will go man up. But this is a younger defense. Yes, you got Sullivan, who, as we mentioned, one of two freshmen in the Alberici era to ever start on the close defense. He's a senior. He's an All-American. But you got Jimmy Manley and Tommy Steins, who are outstanding prospects but aren't as experienced. So Byrne will be pivotal for them to continue to rack up the experience as the season progresses. Here's UMass, Drunzik. Moves it one more to Granara. And UMass going to let it fly from the outside. It's yet again Jack Turowski, number 2 for UMass. He cuts the lead to 3 with a blazing shot from the outside. And in the extra man unit, you see your best passer, typically best passer shooter combo in that top point spot in front of the goal in a lot of offenses. And nobody played Jack Turowski. He just stepped in, and let it fly from the outside. Here's Simone. Wins a face-off. Clears it himself, and that's one of the things that makes Simone so dangerous. Can clear the face-off with himself, can stay on, play offense if needed. From North Caldwell, New Jersey. That's West Essex territory. Here's Weisenborn, sophomore from Chicago. Fellows swings it. Here's Whitlinger. On the doorstep, and great job by UMass, sticking the passing lane, disrupting the catch for Army, and the ball's on the turf. And all things considered for UMass, I mean, you heard great things about this program in the preseason. A lot of returners. A great season a year ago, 9-6. Based off what we've seen today, regardless of how this one finishes, and it's far from over, it's pretty clear the Minutemen are going to be a contender in the Atlantic 10. That looks like Richmond will again be the favorite, but UMass will certainly contend and look to be in that top 4. Here comes UMass. Waxman. Short time. Finnerty. Drunzik from the low wing. Moves it to Turowski, who has been on fire. 15 seconds to go. Finnerty. Moves it to Jackman, and Army puts the ball on the turf, and it'll be a turnover. Short time. Can they get a shot off? 4, 3, 2, and we'll go to the fourth quarter. 10-7 in favor of Army. This one's far from over. Stick with us. Timeout on the field. We'll take one. See you on the other side. Welcome back to West Point, New York, inside the Foley Athletic Complex. Start of the fourth quarter here, 10-7 in favor of the Cadets of Army West Point. And as advertised, both teams doing a nice job. Hill Plunkett has 5 goals, 1 assist. And Jack Tarowski has countered that with 5 goals himself. He has done a nice job. Here's Simone in transition. Will he shoot? No. But this has been a nice matchup. And if you're both teams, be very optimistic about how your season could progress. I mean, Hill Plunkett has been outstanding. And he's not going against just any defenseman. He's going against Kyle Swanson and Zach Aubel. These are all conference, all American type candidates. So if you're an Army fan, you can be very optimistic that you can reload from last year's team. Here's Fellows off the mark, changes his levels, and Plunkett will back it up. See them go a lot of pick game off end line restarts with Plunkett. Try to get him on a short stick and coming off a pick, like right here. Plunkett to Plunkett, swings it. One more, and it's a goal. It's Gus Bell, the freshman from Minnesota. And he gets on the board. It's 11-7. Plunkett to Bell for the goal. The Cadet lead is now 4. And the thing that stood out to me right there, Gus Bell, freshman, doing a great job delivering for the Black Knights, but the presence behind, the gravity of Plunkett, and then Plunkett from the midfield. This Army team's going to be dangerous. As we have a penalty. Looks like it'll be on UMass. Penalty is on Jack Peters, redshirt sophomore from New Hampshire. Oh, excuse me, no, it'll be, oh, UMass picked it up and then Army picked it up. So it'll be extra man opportunity for the Cadets yet again. Here's Calabrese. Time, room, and a save by Salinger. But the outlet pass, they can't connect, and Plunkett moves it. Plunkett picks it up, then he moves it. Here's Plunkett, steps in. One more to Weisenborn. Save again, Salinger. And a great ground ball by Russ Hutchinson. But Army, this tenacious ride, gets the ball back yet again. And as a defense, those are back-breaking opportunities. And we've seen Army, when that ball is on the turf, they've scooped it up and they've turned it into mostly offensive possessions. And UMass has done that as well, but not as well as Army so far today. And Hill Plunkett being guarded by a short stick. He's being shut off. They'll use him as a pick. As UMass, with good reason, trying to deny him the ball, and they're going 5-on-4 above the cage. Weisenborn moves it one more to Calabrese. 5-hole, and Army adds on to this lead. And that's Ben Calabrese again, the sophomore from Connecticut. And Lacrosse is a game of runs, and Army is on a big one here. It's 12-7. So today, everyone's gotten involved for Army. Hill Plunkett, 5 goals, 1 assist. And Calabrese as well getting on the board with his first. And UMass will look to settle things down. 12 minutes left here, just under 12 minutes. Plenty of time here if you are UMass. Here's Turowski. Being pressed by the Army defense. Here's Duva. Oops, excuse me. That's Bagnell, freshman. Cargiulo. He'll take his defenseman behind. Goal line extended, moves it one more for Drunzik, the captain. Can he get his team back in the game here? S-Dodge for UMass, saved by Byrne. Sean Byrne, great save. Gets the ball up and out as good as anyone as well. And Army will look to clear. And we talked about it earlier in the broadcast. Yes, Johnny Sullivan, 4-year starter, All-American defender, but this is a younger defensive unit as Plunkett gets in front of the goal, off the pipe. And UMass scoops up the ground ball, but this Army ride is tenacious. And UMass being pressured, and looks like they called a timeout to save possession. Oh, excuse me, no. He went out of bounds, and we talked about that sideline and not sure what the dimensions are and how it would be a challenge for both teams, and that's an example of it right there. As Army under 10 minutes to go here. Yes, their DNA, they want to push it, but we'll see if they're a little bit more deliberate in their offensive strategy and using the shot clock a little bit more. And judging by the pace of this game, just how the game has gone from a pace standpoint, from UMass's perspective, if they're going to make a dent in this lead and have a chance to tie it up, this possession is going to be crucial. Down by 5, just under 10 minutes. You got to think a goal every couple of minutes here. Here's Waxman in the invert. Finalizer. Moves it one more. Jackman. Feeds the crease. Cannot connect. That'll be a turnover. And we're going Army possession. And Army was offsides. Big time situation here for UMass. They do not give you time to get into the goal on turnovers. And big hit. And flags will fly. And that was a big opportunity for UMass in transition. And now they'll have a free possession here. And we'll see if they can go 2 for 1. And Tarowski, Massachusetts product, has been on fire today for UMass. Here's Johnson. Move it to Tarowski. He's got a short stick matchup. Advantage UMass. Tarowski. From behind the net. Gets the goal line extended. Moves it one more. Here's Jackman. Tries to get top side, and he loses it, but UMass picks it up. And just a missed opportunity there for UMass, but it'll be a free possession. They had Granara on the back door cut, and they weren't able to connect. That would have been a dunk opportunity for UMass. And it'll be a penalty on the Cadets. Looks like either Thor Swanson or Gavin Cooper. Could not see if it was 20 or 28. And Army will go with their EMO defense. And UMass has been successful so far today on one of their extra man opportunities. This unit was 4th nationally in 2025, so this is a big opportunity. And that shot looks off the pipe, but looked like it could have got a piece of the net. And UMass will retain possession, and another penalty flag flies. And we talked about those stacking possessions, stacking them in extra man opportunity. That's tough. Here's Drunzik. Moves it one more. Moves it one more from Tarowski to, looks like that was Cargiulo. And we'll see what the next penalty flag is. So it's 12-7, 6:25 left in the fourth quarter. UMass has the ball, extra man opportunity. If you're just joining us, this was a physical contest in the first quarter, and then a combined 10 goals from both teams in the second quarter. And the pace of this game has been much faster since. UMass with the extra man. Here come the Minutemen. Johnson. Here's Granara. Moves it one more to Drunzik. Feeds the top. And a save by Byrne. He stuffed Bagnell. And we have seen a tremendous goalie matchup today from both teams. Sean Byrne from Georgia, as advertised, and Owen Salinger from Liverpool, New York for UMass, 35 in the net for UMass, has been outstanding as well. And when you look at the statistics, as UMass will retain possession, Byrne 11 saves, Salinger 14 saves, as UMass will go in transition and not able to connect. Sean Byrne, 61% save percentage. Salinger, 53.8 with 14 saves. So both goaltenders having a great game as we'll go timeout. We'll have a timeout here. And we'll take a break as well. 12-7, 6:16 to go left in this matchup. Opening day, Army Lacrosse versus UMass at the Foley Athletic Center. We'll see you on the other side. Welcome back to the Foley Athletic Complex here at the gorgeous campus of the United States Military Academy in West Point, New York. If you're just joining us, 12-7 with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter in favor of the Cadets. As UMass with a turnover. And this game got off to a slow start, 2-1 Army after the first quarter, but then there was 10 goals, 6 by Army, 4 by UMass in the second quarter. Even in the third quarter, 2-2, and now Army has the fourth quarter advantage at 2-0. So 12-7 in favor of the Army Black Knights. He'll plunk it, 5 goals, 1 assist for Army, as his brother Evan, one of the top midfielders in the country, arguably the top midfielder in the country, will settle things down here. And then for UMass, Jack Turowski, 5 goals, 1 assist, doing a terrific job. And then we already talked about the goaltenders, Owen Salinger and Sean Byrne. They have done a tremendous job as Army looks content to go to the goal later in shot clock situations. Plunkett on a short stick here. Plunkett to Plunkett. Here's Evan with a short stick. Gets underneath. S-dodge and denied by Salinger. Yet again. we have stoppage on the field. Looks like timeout for UMass, so very strategic timeout by Coach Smith. Dead ball, you can call a defensive timeout in that situation. He saw his defense was in an unsettled situation, calls timeout, prevents Army from having that opportunity. So great job by Coach Smith. So we'll keep it here in 3 minutes, 50 seconds. We'll talk big picture for both teams. Army, 12-2 a year ago, NCAA quarterfinalists in 2023. They look poised for another Patriot League run. I think the key thing for them will, can they peak at the right time in the month of May, as they haven't played their best lacrosse in the Patriot League tournament the last couple years, but they certainly know how to compete that time of year. We've seen this Army team in the NCAA tournament plenty of times, plenty of Patriot League championships. So I think it comes down to timing. And you got to give the Patriot League a lot of credit, too. This is a league that is ascending. You look at Colgate a year ago. You look at Lafayette's ascension, and you look at Navy. They're building something special. And Boston University, they've been special. So this league as a whole, the Patriot League, yes, Army has done a really nice job the last 6 or 7 years, but so has other programs. But Army, 7 of 9 of the first place votes in the Patriot League coaches poll, in the media poll. So the clear favorite again in 2026, and with good reason. I mean, the talent on this team, Hill Plunkett, Evan Plunkett, Sean Byrne, Sullivan on defense. Yes, they've got to replace a lot of special players, but we've seen them reload in years past as well. So we'll see what they can do as this season progresses. It's a long season, and there's no doubt Army was one of the top teams in the country a year ago and could have made a run to the Final Four despite not being an NCAA participant a year ago. That's just how it goes sometimes. So UMass will look to double the ball, and Army will look to just kill some clock here. And they'll cause the turnover. And UMass will look to push in transition. And we'll talk big picture for UMass as well as they look to push it. This is a team, UMass, playing in the Atlantic 10, which I don't know if people give it the respect it deserves. It is one of the top conferences in college lacrosse. You look at UMass, Richmond, High Point, St. Joe's, and others. As UMass will go top side, and they'll score. It's Matthew Cargiulo, the junior from Long Island on Manhasset. He cuts this lead to 4. But you look at this UMass team, and they are poised, if they can continue to improve, and they likely will over the course of this season. Every team's a work in progress and has only just begun to do what they're capable of. But this UMass team will be a tough out, not just in the Atlantic 10, but in their non-conference schedule as well. As we go back to the face-off X. And it's Caleb Caldwell, freshman from Texas, as he battles on the sideline for the ground ball. And we will go to Army. But talking big picture for UMass, 9-6 a year ago, a lot of returners as Army turns it over, but a lot of returners for UMass as well, and they'll certainly be a contender in the Atlantic 10. You got to think, from what they've shown today going against Army, and for everything you hear, talking to the coaching staff, that they're poised to be a contender come tournament time, just like Army in their conference play. As Salinger, penalty, they were offsides, and Fellows has the dagger on the doorstep. And the Army Cadets are up by 5, and the sideline is ecstatic. Some of the best celebrations I've seen And that's a big part of lacrosse culture as a whole. You see these mosh pits on the sidelines of college teams, high school teams, and it's a big part of the culture. And those guys on the sideline, they're as much a part of the success with their effort in practice, getting the team ready, as the guys on the field. So to see them celebrating and excited is awesome. And we will keep it with Army. So 80-second shot clock, 2 minutes, 12 seconds left in this game. Not many possessions left. If you're Army, it was not perfect, but you see the potential and what they could be. A team that can certainly reload. And if you're UMass, you see the potential as well. A lot of good pieces on offense. Defensively, did a nice job as well today. So there's no doubt these two teams are poised to make a run. As we just under 2 minutes here, as Army content to play keep away. And they'll pull the goalie Salinger, and Army scores again. Gus Bell, the freshman, he's got his second. And yes, 14-8, and Army adding on. 1 minute, 19 seconds left, 14-8 in favor of the Cadets. And yes, the score is what it is. But let's say you're in that situation, up a goal against a conference opponent. You're getting reps in those situations. So yes, the score is what it is. But you can bet this coaching staff will be turning on the tape and this point of the game, and they'll be coaching the last 2 minutes just as hard and well as they are the first 2 minutes of the game, as Simone will look to just eat some clock here. We're under a minute here. And Fellows will just look to eat the rest of this possession, and Army making a nice statement here today. They're not rebuilding. Yes, you lose 22 seniors, one of the best senior classes in the history of this proud program, which is really saying a lot considering all the success they've had, but it's not rebuilding, it's reloading. And the Army West Point Black Knights are going to start the 2026 season 1-0. Congratulations to Coach Albarisi's team. UMass looks like they will be very competitive this season. And it's college lacrosse season, one of the best times of the year. Thank you for joining us today from beautiful Army, West Point, and the United States Military Academy. I'm Alex Schoen, and thank you. Have a great day.